welcome back to another Mindful Manis and Chats Swatch and Thoughts video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Halloween collection from Holo Taco. They did graciously send this collection in PR to me, so I will be sharing it with you guys, but of course all thoughts are my own. I am super excited for a Halloween collection because we've never really gotten one from Holo Taco. We've had like a couple Halloween adjacent polishes before, but never like a full collection with a super carton associated with Halloween. So I'm really excited, especially because I know a lot of people do really like Halloween collections, which I would say I'm one of them as well. Honestly, I don't like decorate a whole bunch for Halloween and stuff, but I love the vibe, like love a spooky vibe for sure. Except scary movies, haunted houses, anything actually spooky, but I like a spooky vibe and just not spooky realness, you know what I mean? So they are also releasing a new glow-in-the-dark topper. This one is Aqua Glow-in-the-Dark Taco. Last one they just had a regular like green one, and this time it's like a blue kind of like aqua one, and it is super fun. I'm excited for that as well. The Halloween collection is 6 polishes and then plus that glow-in-the-dark topper as well, and the 6 polishes are all pretty different formulas. We have like a thermal, a couple crellies, multi-chrome, flakies, you know, all the good stuff. So I'm pretty excited to share the collection with you guys, and I feel like we should just get started. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to be talking about is Thirst Trap. This one is described as being a shiny, bright, blood red metallic micro foil flake formula. Now, this formula, if you're familiar with it from Holo Taco, you know that it is perfect and absolutely dazzling in just 2 coats. So once again, Thirst Trap is no different, and it's full opacity in just 2 coats. Next up, we have Dead Serious. This one is described as being a multi-chrome formula that shifts from blackened purple to red. Now, the blackened purple I feel like in my swatch does not show up at all, and honestly I think that is pretty accurate to the formula itself. It does need 3 coats to build up to total opacity, at least that is how I prefer to build up my multi-chromes, just very thin 3 coats, and it had a pretty decent formula as well. Also, you will see in the comparisons how it compares to a true red to black multi-chrome, and that purple will show up just a little bit more. Next up is Just Vamping. This one is described as being a deep eggplant shade in a buildable Crelly formula. I'm going to go off and say that this one was very, very dark, and it had a good enough formula. It was not as dark as like Indigo Away or Devil's Advocate from Holo Taco. If you're familiar, those are like almost black. I would not say that Just Vamping is in that same category. However, it is still a very nice and dark color. It is showing up a little bit lighter and warmer just because of my light and my swatch setup, but I will also say it looks a little patchy in my swatch, and I honestly think that was just swatcher application. Next up, we have Trick or Trash. This one is described as being a multicolored foil flakes packed into a near black jelly base. I really do love this new formula that Holo Taco has done, and the foil flakes are super vibrant. This one I would say definitely I recommend building up in 3 coats just because of that really light, almost black jelly base. And I am glad that there's no scattered holographic in this one, just because I really like the effect of just the foil flakes building up onto itself. So overall, I really enjoyed this polish, and I hope they do more in this kind of formula style. I do also just want to pop in again and say that on this 3rd coat, I don't seemingly reach full opacity, but I do think that is just because like the weird coats I was doing in this video for whatever reason. Sorry about that if that annoys you. But on my other nails, when I just like a regular manicure, I got full opacity in the 3 coats, so no visible nail line was shown. following that up, we have So Toxic, which is described as being a bright plasma green in a curly formula. I would say that this formula was pretty sheer and ultimately kind of hard to work with and even a little patchy, so it was a bit disappointing. The formula on it was very unforgiving and it had a very thick consistency and absolutely needed 3 coats. I would not recommend wearing this one in 2 coats, at least just in my experience, because it didn't really have like a cool like jelly curly effect. It just kind of looked, I don't know, uneven. So unfortunately that was the experience I had, but I would perhaps try adding thinner to the bottle and seeing if that works as well. Also, I will say that this polish did stain my nails yellow, not to an extreme amount, but I just figured I would put that out there. Last but not least, we have Simply Deceased, which is the only limited edition polish in this collection. It's described as a blackened burgundy to bright red thermal with red iridescent flakes and scattered hollow. This one I feel like did not shift as easily or quickly as Holo Taco's previous thermals. That being said, it totally still does shift, and the shift is pretty nice as well, so it's not like it doesn't shift at all. It definitely does. It's just not as reactive in my experience as the previous thermals that they've done, but this is still loads of fun and is absolutely perfect in 2 coats, which I really appreciate for thermals. After I finished swatching, I realized I accidentally forgot to show it in the warm state, so while I had it on my thumb, I figured I would show you as well. I did now also want to go over the Aqua Glow in the Dark Taco in the comparison section. As you can see, I'm comparing it on the left to China Glaze's Ghoulish Glow, and it is a green glow in the dark topper. As you can see, that green tinge kind of shows up over the white base a little bit. Also, I showed it in 1 coat in the dark. As you can see, the China Glaze one on the left is a lot more streaky and grainy looking, while as the Holo Taco one is much more smooth. This also happens when I build it up in 2 coats as well. The Holo Taco one is definitely a little bit brighter and just overall a lot smoother of an appearance, and I honestly just prefer the blue glow in my opinion as well. The only bright green that I have that is similar to Holo Taco's new So Toxic is Cert Colors Thirsty. The shade was a limited edition, so it's not available anymore, but I figured I would still show it in case some people have it in their collection. As you can see, Thirsty on the left there is a bit more minty, and it is a creme, whereas So Toxic is a crelly. For just vamping, I actually had a very close dupe. Unironically, this is Olive Ave Polish's Pisces on the right, which is a creme as well, so it has a thicker, more opaque formula, but overall, I would say that they are incredibly close, and I would honestly call them dupes, especially in the shade. Speaking of very similar polishes, I have, of course, the iconic ILNP Eclipse to compare to Holo Taco's new Dead Serious. You can see that there is a little bit of a base color difference. Dead Serious is definitely a little bit more warm, and as far as I can tell, it does not have that gold shift that ILNP has at its extreme angles. Here are the 2 shades in different lighting as well, where you can really see the differences. I also have a whole bunch of Holo Taco Reds to compare to the new Thirst Trap. As you can see, many shiny reds. They all look pretty similar, and I feel like you'll just have to make a judgment for yourself as to which one you prefer and just pick out which formula. I will say that Thirst Trap is really nice, so I think I prefer it even over Red Licorice and maybe even Favorite Sister, which is hard for me to say. And while the polish shade also does look similar, that one does shift to yellow at extreme angles as well, so they're not exact dupes. Speaking of very similar shades, I have Polish for Days Interstellar to compare to Holo Taco's new Trick or Trash. The Polish for Days shade is from a past polish pickup, so it's no longer available for purchase, but it does have a blackened, like, blackberry base to it, whereas Trick or Trash has that buildable black base, and Interstellar also does have reflective glitter in it as well. Okay, so what do we think? I personally am really excited for the collection, and I think it will be pretty popular. Like, that's just my prediction, because Thankfully, a lot of the shades are permanent, which I'm very happy about. The only ones that are limited are the thermal, because just of the thermal properties themselves. I guess Holo Taco just doesn't want to sell those long term for whatever reason. And then the glow in the dark topper is seasonal because, of course, I mean, that makes sense. Most people are only buying those during like the fall season, in my opinion. But I'm glad the other ones like Thirst Trap and Trick or Trash are here to stay, because those were some of the ones that stood out to me the most as well. I also thought it was interesting that Just Vamping is also already available to purchase at Ulta Beauty, and that was really surprising just because they did release that a little bit early. Who knows if that was on purpose or not? I know that the Holo Taco team kind of played it off like it was, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like Christine is very hesitant to just release or even like announce stuff like that ahead of the time sometimes. So I don't know, kind of to make a cover up, and I think it was maybe an accident. We'll see eventually if it keeps happening in the future. But the Just Vamping is super pretty, so I'm glad it is available, you know, across the US in a lot of the Ulta Beauty stores, just because it is such a gorgeous shade. So I'm glad it's going to be like a staple essentially. It does kind of make me think that they're leaning towards discontinuing Indigo Away, just because I know that one was one of the ones they gave out with their mystery like sales that they've had, and I think it's also appeared in like the rewards section for Holo Taco as well a couple times. So that paired with releasing a similar-ish kind of color makes me think that Just Vamping is kind of supposed to be the replacement for Indigo Away. But I mean, we'll see over time, or just in a few months, I guess, is when she usually discontinues them. I'm also glad they brought back another multi-chrome in Dead Serious, just because I really do love a multi-chrome formula, and you know, there's only so many of them you can do, but I'm glad that they released another one, because even though they might not be the most popular formula, I personally do think that they are a little bit underrated, so I'm glad to see another one being added to the mix. Also, is So Toxic like our first like neon? Because I mean, we've had like bright shades before. I mean, I guess it's only technically neon if it like glows under UV light or whatever, but I mean, neon green looks neon green to me. I don't know. So regardless, I'm really happy that we have another super bright color adding to the mix as well, just because I do love like a really bright green. I mean, low-key, I love all greens, but bright neon greens are like my favorite, so I'm glad it's here to stay. That being said, I do think that So Toxic is technically like my least favorite in the collection, just because compared to the other ones, it is kind of, you know, boring. And obviously I'm aware that it's still like a Crelly, and Crellys are totally still fun, but just in comparison to like crazy flaky bombs, the Crelly does feel like a little bit muted in a way, even though it is like a super fun bright green. But like I said, I do love neon greens, so I'm really happy it's like a permanent shade in the Holo Taco catalog now. However, the formula was just very poor. You do eventually get opacity after 3 coats, but the experience of getting up to those 3 coats is not my favorite. However, I will try adding thinner to my bottle, and hopefully that should help. It's not really like that big of a deal, you know? So yeah, just based on the formula application, I would say that So Toxic is my least favorite one. However, my favorite one of the collection is Trick or Trash, just because I love the foil flakes in the polish. I don't know if Holo Taco has used like foil flakes before. I know they've had like metallic flakes. Now that I think about it, I think, are the frosted metals, are those made with foil flakes? Those might be made with foil flakes. I'm not sure. But regardless, I love it in like the contrasting base, especially that black base. It builds up so cool. It has a lot of dimension to it. And overall, I hope more polishes like that one get made. But if you can't tell, I am just super happy with the collection overall, and looking forward to a lot more Halloween collections from Holo Taco as well. And if you do love Halloween, did you love this collection? Did it not live up to the hype? Let me know what you think. Personally, I really liked it. Leave any and all thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!